Okay, hello everybody. I got the introduction, so thank you very much for that. So as mentioned, I am here to shed light on new concepts of relationship management, upskilling, reskilling, and performance evaluation. So I'll start with what are the topics we are going to cover under this title. We will be looking at performance implications, issues, and insights. The management attention is focused on what today? Redefining the how we work and steps to reskilling and upskilling, performance and recognition. So to start with performance implications, issues, and insights, I'm going to start with a little brief, which is what has affected the status we are in today. As we all know, COVID-19 has amplified the need to quickly mobilize resources. Governments' investments are prioritized, focused on mitigating the outbreak and maintaining essential public services. The current investments are going to website, infrastructure, applications, emergency management, and disease surveillance. In the long term, as per Gartner, government organizations will likely accelerate investments into digital public services, scalable IT and communication infrastructures, predictive data analytics, artificial intelligence. The COVID-19 caused the necessity to accelerate digital business, but requires a change in work basics and habits. The problem we have is that people don't change their habits overnight. Acceleration is not a technical problem only. It's people and many other things. We have to rethink the way we perform our work, the processes, decisions made, enabling more agile work structure, adopting new ways of working, and emerging work cultures. Accelerating digital business means working differently and faster. People don't change working habits on command, as we all know. Executive leaders must frame the change for employees by defining new values or doubling down on the values they already have and they think they are working, but they have to link it with expected behavior and performance evaluations. Now, what managements are targeting and they are focusing on? They are focusing on attending to current issues, like public health measures to prevent the spread, cushion the economic effects on households and firms. Change is inevitable, given the multiple shocks governments are facing. The government is facing a health shock, economic shock, and physical shock. The health shock by the spread, to slow the spread of the disease and treat those who are infected. The economical shock is to expand the existing social protection programs and create new ones to revive the economy. And the physical shock is to find new ways for revenue because the current revenue streams are falling. So these shocks are affecting governments in unprecedented ways. The pandemic is changing social values and norms, and as well as the way the economy functions. It's creating an impact on both the role of the government and how it works going forward, which affects everyone's life. Also, they are focusing on ensuring the performance is maintained, because the crisis has exposed vulnerabilities, coordination failures, weak public institutions, limited resources, accountabilities, patronages, corruption. So there is a lot of areas that needs attention. The pandemic has also illustrated that it is possible for governments with capable institutions to act decisively. By contrast, though the challenge has forced governments to look inward first, the recovery will require collective action by governments and international actors on a global scale. So, governments that continuously learn, adapt, and actively build coalitions are best placed to have a successful response. Governments do make some mistakes. What is important is willing to learn from their mistakes and successes and those of others. Another area of focusing is upgrading technology from nice to have to should have. So governments must seize the opportunity to change for the better. We need to ask 5 important questions. How will the role of government change? How will government deliver? How will governments be more productive? How will citizens' trust in government be affected? How will governments prepare for future crises? The answer is technology and people operating it, and all the underlying structures. Another area of focus is relying on analytics and data for direction. Analytics, big data, cloud computing, data science, digital transformation, machine learning, predictive analytics, cloud computing, data warehousing, marketing analytics, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, real-time analytics. You can see how much we have to learn. By analyzing very large data sets using sophisticated algorithms, it is possible to gain deep insights that only possible with the huge volume of data. This presents a number of unique opportunities. What are these opportunities? Make more informed decisions, better risk management, actionable insights, identification of causes of failures and problems in real time. This is very huge to be able to continuously improve our operations. Now, redefining how we do it, how we work. What is done? The evolution of the workplace has put employees' relations in the spotlights. How employees and employers value one another is a key indication or indicator of business success. This is good because it gives us better returns and better production. So points to put on our checklists so we can achieve this is to go digital, build a centralized employee relations oversight team, create growth and leadership, establish complete transparency and open communication. And this is just an example. Estonia was one of the first who went fully digital, and they had a very nice case, which they have all your data under your own ownership, and you have the right to check who accessed your data in a log. And if somebody is overstepping their limits, you have the right to sue them if they are government employees. And and by law, they can go to jail for it. So it's very important to have transparency and open communication with people and with employees inside an organization. Get to know what your team truly wants. It's very important for motivation. Make work less stressful. Support your managers in decision-making. Resolve issues quickly because lingering issues, they stop work. Inspire employees backing the organization. Give feedback to your employees or to your constituents. Make decisions based on data, not on whims. Retention begins at onboarding. This means that the first impression is the last impression. Create a safe workplace for everyone. Hand over the reins. I'm going to repeat this. Hand over the reins. Hand over the reins. This means decentralization of decision making. Because we are afraid of mistakes, we hold the reins in our hands. We can decentralize decision-making and put controls in place to make sure that things are still on track. Be more adaptable. This is what we are all vouching for in this transformation. Also, we are focused how we are transforming, who is doing what. So the Gartner Group did a survey for 800 plus HR leaders, and they found 9 HR trends that needs to be addressed. One is increase in remote working, expanded data collection. So employers and governments were collecting more data, 16% more data, to be able to control people and control what they are doing and where are they. Contingent worker expansion, which means now the models are changing of the job, that people are hiring people outside the country, or having people on gigs, which means they come and do something and they leave as a small project to finish and leave. This doesn't happen a lot in Kuwait, but the over borders hiring is something that many people are considering now in Kuwait. Expanded employer role as social safety net. This is one of the points that came out of the survey. Enhanced, the employer was asked to be more giving to the people, which plays a little bit into the role of the government, which provided a social safety net. Separation of critical skills and roles. This is very important. Employers are realizing that there is another category of critical roles than what they thought before the crisis. Dehumanization of employees, treating them as workers first and people second. Emergence of new top-tier employers. This is very important because progressive organizations communicate openly and frequently, which attracts high flyers and star workers, which actually results in better production and better outcome. Transition from designing for efficiency to designing for resilience. The systems that we are used to working, they are not flexible. They cannot respond to a disruption. So today, HR managers or people handlers, they are looking into finding a more resilient design that will allow them to be flexible. Increase in organization complexity due to merger and acquisition, and now in the government of Kuwait, they are moving some departments under different management, for example, from one ministry to another. So this creates a very complex status of processes for employees, and this happens usually during transitions. Where it's done, workplace has slowly changed. My other speakers has explained this in details. So I'm not going to go all this because I'm repeating what they already said, but I'm going to say that the hybrid workplace is the future of business and probably of government. In Canada, the government has implemented the hybrid workplace where it could, because what dictates if the hybrid workplace is doable is the nature of the work, whether it demands high level security or not. The task at hand is it could be done at home or not. The personality of the worker, if they are self-starter, they can work on their own. The home situation of the worker is, do they have the work office that they can use? Some of the initiatives we saw around the world is that some people are providing services. For example, if a cluster of employees live in a certain area, they provide co-working spaces. They can book at their leisure when there's nobody there and go work in that space. Home office design is also a thing of today everywhere in the world. How to make it happen? That's very important. Governments that continuously learn, I'm repeating this, adapt and actively build coalitions are best placed to have a successful response. This is very important. So how to do it? Governance. The main issues of governments that needs to be everywhere we do something is transparency, accountability, control of corruption, efficiency, inclusiveness, and rule of law. This doesn't change whether there is a pandemic or not. Now, reskilling and upskilling. As jobs are transformed by technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, we need to reskill more than 1 billion people by 2030. Source, World Economic Forum. The way we approach learning and development should be no different. It doesn't change between before, during, or after the pandemic. The basics are the same. The tools might change, but the basics are the same. We still have to identify the skills your organization depend on, build a critical list of skill list, ramp up training to close critical skill gaps. This you cannot do away with. Create an assessment mechanism, that's very important. Reskill people who used to do things the old way, they have to be reskilled to do things the new way. And the most important part, don't cut your training budget. Don't cut your training budget. Every KD you cut from your training budget will cost you 10, if not more, KD in profit, in production, in end result. This is very important. Sorry. Now, why employee upskilling and reskilling is so important right now? The role of performance enablement in employee upskilling and reskilling allows us a workforce that is agile, adaptable to the shifting industry needs. How to approach employee upskilling and reskilling? Gather data, leverage people analytics, encourage knowledge sharing, and most importantly, collaborative work, because they learn from each other and it creates a team spirit, even if it's done digitally. Implement a performance enablement solution, which is connecting performance data to the personalized learning experience, to the remuneration and how they cash their money at the end of the day, which will give you more enticement to produce. Performance and recognition. Performance management must evolve to survive COVID-19. Gallup. Managers should be given the expectation, authority, and flexibility to tailor goal settings to the team and the individual of their work changes, as their work changes. This is very important because this goes back to the point I mentioned before, which is decentralization of decision-making. We need to know the outcome, and then we can decide how we can go about it or how we can reach that point. Most performance management systems are too rigid for uncertain times. We all know that. Leaders need a new way to track and encourage high performance. Agile goals, ongoing feedback, and flexible metrics and incentives are what we need. Static performance reviews, annual goals, and infrequent feedback never, ever worked, and they are not going to work now. Now, the only viable management style going forward will be ongoing coaching, conversations, rhythm, collaboration, shared accountability and for performance and development. Agile goals, this requires an agile mindset. So this has to be from top down. Everybody should think in an agile mindset. And this needs training. That encourages employees to own their own goals and expect change, and even, which is very important, to anticipate change. Ongoing conversations will have different purposes and outcomes at weekly, monthly, and quarterly intervals. One of the tricks that big companies use is the one-on-one meeting on a weekly basis. That's very, very important. It gives the manager insight into the employee's life and how they are performing their job, especially if they are working remotely. Dynamic adjustments to accountability and incentives. Focus on clearly defined outcomes and performance indicators. Metrics, goals, deliverables. Not what time they came to work, how many hours they spent at work, and if they are at the head office or not.
Sure.
Metrics, goals, and deliverables. Now, in conclusion, the fast tracking the digital disruption, we have to think about technology, data, Internet of Things, automation, AI. And every time I mention one of this, we are thinking about the people behind it. How can we maintain relationship with our staff and with our people while entertaining this cutting edge technologies? Digital disruption is making current business models obsolete. Leverage technology and data or become a casualty. What finance has to do is to create a new business model. Human resources has to become motivation and production oriented rather than what do you call it, these nitties and gritties they put in performance appraisals. They have to look how motivated the employees are. So this is what I had to present today, and I would look forward to your questions.